you have to really know where you end and someone else begins. Because we think of relationship as the folding into someone. But there are boundaries that you have to maintain.
Yeah.
If not, you're going to expect this person to give you what you should be giving yourself.
Oh my God, I say that.
You got to
all the
give
time.
yourself permission. You got to give yourself affirmation,
Validation.
self cultivation,
Yep.
self affirmation, self affirming. You have to give all of that to yourself
Yeah.
before you demand it from someone else.
Yeah.
Now,
Even if a person is not happy with you,
right,
are you
right.
happy with you?
Yeah. Let me say this and ask you this, because a lot of people would, when they hear about self love, self care, self inner dialogue, whatever the case may be, a lot of times I've heard people say, well, you know what? They're selfish.
Oh, I love where this conversation is going.
They're selfish. All they're thinking about is themselves, not understanding, according to a biblical principle, you got to love your neighbor
As you love
only
yourself.
as you love yourself. So
Yes.
so what's the difference then between this idea of, you're talking about self-care? Why is that not selfish?
Okay, so selfishness and self-care is on opposite ends of this spectrum. So you get people who are self-absorbed until they become narcissistic. It's not about what I'm bringing to the table to cultivate it.
Yeah.
It's what I'm getting from it. So a healthy relationship is transactional, giving and receiving.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So you are impoverished by what you keep, and you are always prospered by what you give.
Give away. Yeah.
But you have to give at the level of the person's capacity. So if you have a person in the relationship that has a point size capacity and you're giving gallon, you need to tone that down to a point size
Right.
until that person can go into your gallon. If not, you're resentful. So I always say that self-care is the most selfless thing you can do, because a better me is a better we, a better
Exactly.
I is a better us. But what happens if that's narcissistic? Then you got to reset that relationship, because now this person is taking, and you're giving. So now either you've got to reset by severing that relationship, or you need to go into counsel to deal with what is going on with that person who is not providing what you need in the relationship equally. And when I talk about equal, it may not be you cook for me and I cook for you.
Right.
It's equal in what you bring to the table.
Right.
So you may not be able to cook. I may be able to cook. So I'm not going to expect you, I cook breakfast for you, I want you to cook breakfast for me.
Right.
No. Equal in value.
Right.
So if say for instance, you get a man who is the breadwinner, which is fine. That's the role that they play. And the wife is the housekeeper. So do you say to her, I'm making all the money, you got to go out and get a job and contribute financially?
Yeah.
No. How can I give equally?
Right.
What is equal? So you have to know one another's love language.
Yeah.
So a wife may be cooking, and acts of kindness and gifts may not be your husband's love language. Your husband's love language may be affirmation, words of affirmation. Yours might be gifts and acts of kindness. So now, if your husband or wife is giving you affirmation, verbal affirmation, I love you, I love you, I love you, but what they need is gifts and acts of kindness, you're going to feel as if you're being cheated.
Exactly.
So you have to have this conversation. What do you need? Do you need quality time?
Right.
So sometimes, you're giving your spouse, you're talking in a language that does not translate well with your spouse. It's
don't
like
Right.
you
see
speaking in
love.
Spanish and they're speaking in
Right.
English. They don't feel that.
Exactly.
So a man might say, I want quality time. And a woman might be, cooking, might be cleaning,
Yep.
might keep the kids well, but never spend quality time because I'm busy, busy, busy.
Yeah.
Quality time is not in hours. It means that you're
It's
focusing
qualities.
solely on me,
Right.
even if it's for 5 minutes.
Right.
That you don't have the phone, you're not distracted. This is our time. And she might say, well, I spend 23 hours cleaning. But what you need is that 24-hour. I just need you not to think about the children, not to be on the phone. So it's, going back to the whole idea of singlehood and self-care and being selfish. The most selfless thing a person can do is to
Take care of
nurture their greater self. Because self care determines how I show up in this world, how I show up in relationships, how I show up and own a space. It's all about me loving myself enough to
show
put
up.
in the energy to become the next best version of myself.
Yeah.
It's an evolutionary process. So
Yeah.
going back to singlehood and preparing yourself, I'm going to answer your question and answer your question in one time,
Yep.
is being in this great evolutionary process, extricating or coming off of the ledge, talking yourself off the ledge of living on the periphery or the circumference of someone else's life and someone else's narrative of who you should be, talking yourself off the ledge so that you're not playing supporting actress or actor in the unfolding of a narrative that you never agreed on, and having the courage and having the authenticity and the integrity enough to be able to recognize, hold on 1 minute, this is my life. I've been casted to play lead actor and actress, and literally play the lead actor, actress at the circumference of your greatness, at the circumference of your purpose, of the circumference of your passion. And inevitably, when you live there, the right people will come into your life,
Right.
and they will inevitably have the capacity to accommodate who you are.
Yeah.
So we have to talk ourselves off the ledge. We have to understand that we are not playing the supporting actress
Yeah.
or actor in the unfolding of anyone's life. We're only playing the lead actor and actress in our own.
Lives.
And if we play that role, we will show up as an authentic self, powerful self. And when it comes to a relationship, we know what we are going to give. I call it your value added proposition. This is what I bring to the table. But you would also demand that that individual that you're interacting with tells you what their value added proposition is.
Wow.
So that you can agree that this is the type of relationship that I want. Because now, not only do I know that I can contribute to you,
Yeah.
I know you can contribute to me.
Yeah.
And we eliminate all of the false expectations that we bring to the table because we have a clear understanding psychologically, emotionally, and physically. There's a boundary that is there that is very healthy
Yeah.
because you've learned the art of self-care. So self-care is the most selfless thing that you can do, because if you bring 100% of yourself to the world and to your relationship, inevitably you showing up as the amazing, gifted, talented person that you are will automatically make this world a better place.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
You said something earlier about, focus. So you said focus. You said you have to be able to focus. When you're in a state of singleness, you have to be able to focus on but passion is something you said.
Yeah, so passion is expressed in a lot of different ways. So you don't eliminate the passion.
Yeah. You have
You
people,
just redirect it. So, what do you have a passion for? I have a passion for reading. I love reading. I have a passion for empowering people. I have a passion for my family. I have a passion for travel. I love adventure. So look what I did with that energy.
you just
While
shifted it.
I'm waiting, I took all of that energy and I redirected it.
Yeah.
And then when I got involved in a relationship with Dad, Now I can take that passion that is assigned to this relationship. And because I played full out over here, I could play full out over here.
Yeah. So a lot of times in relationships, I think one of the biggest issues that I hear coming from therapy room is a lot of times people have a hard time controlling their sexual passions when they're single. So yes, I want to be single, but at the same time, I have needs. How do in singleness, what is the strategy to control your passions, your sexual passions specifically in single for the guys and for the women?
Yeah. I think, why are you having a physical relationship in the beginning? What do you want from it? Like I said, everything is transactional. You want something from me, I want something from you. What is the sex for? Because it can turn into a sexual addiction.
Yeah.
And so that you're using sex like a drug. You want to get away from something. You want to feel something. But a lot of times, what we want from people, we should want from ourselves.
Yeah.
We should give ourselves that end results that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And not using sex as a way to solve an internal sense of isolation or loneliness. Sex doesn't fix the loneliness part of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then,
yeah.
secondly, if you sleep around enough, eventually you're going to walk away with a gift that keeps on giving. And that's what you don't want.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and thirdly, I'm a Christian. So my Christian values
Yeah.
is what I bring to the table. Because every time you exchange yourself in a physical sense, sexually, with someone else, you create a soul tie. So just imagine by the time you find the real one,
Right.
you've got the activities going on the inside of you, and it's like having this orgy with these invisible people
Yeah.
that you bring to the bed. And then secondly, you sleep around with enough people. When you finally get married, you compare your sexual
Yes.
experience
Yes. Yes. Yes.
to this new relationship.
Yep.
And which is pretty bad. I think as Christians, and this is the space that I am in, then celibacy is the new sexy.
I love that.
Why pay for something that is free? You want to raise the bar on your own value.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
you train people how to devalue
Yeah.
you. I
And
can
you
get
don't give
anything.
away anything that is
Yeah,
of value.
yeah. I can get anything I want. No, you
Right.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
you cannot.
Yeah.
And I think raising the bar is not just for you. Is for the next generation, and I'm talking about females, the next generation of females that are watching you as a standard bearer. You've got children, other girl children.
Yeah.
And for the man, when you have children, you have to ask yourself this question: would you want another little boy doing that to your
Right.
daughter?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Using your daughter. And I think just having a standard,
Yeah.
knowing that sex doesn't solve all problems. Solves the sexual,
Yep.
which is normal, which is natural. It solves that. But if you're using that for any other purpose than to express the deepest sense of connection to someone that you truly love, if you're doing it for any other reason, you're going to undermine your own peace, your own joy, your own progress, because
Yeah.
now you're turning to people
Yeah.
for what you should be giving yourself, and
Yeah.
that is self-love. Sex is biochemical, is a physical thing. It's a natural impulse. So after you satisfy something that is physical, what do you do with the rest of your needs?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Your psychological needs, your emotional need, your need for accomplishment, your need for achievement, your need to contribute
Yeah.
to the world. We're here
Right.
to contribute.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Yeah. And it seems like sex will heighten those needs even more.
You sexualize.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women make the one mistake, and a lot of men, they sexualize relationships. Right now in the technology world, we talk about tokenizing or tokenization. So you want to tokenize your products, your goods, your services, your brand. You want to tokenize so that you increase streams of income financially. So that's the whole big conversation.
Yeah.
So just like people tokenize, we sexualize,
Yeah.
and then we become the token that we use to exchange for something that we really need, and that is a higher form of love. So that higher form of love is the connection that you have with God. And once you have that connection with God, he will begin, I call it God whispers.
That's the fulfillment.
He will begin these God
Yeah.
whispers on a spiritual level. And once you are spiritually healthy, it would overflow in every other area of your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So your relationship with yourself is important. Your relationship with God is important. And when you get those two,
Yeah.
then you have to clarify your core values. You know,
Yeah.
people sleep around because they haven't clarified the core values.
Yeah, it goes back to that relationship
Yeah.
with self. They haven't found their relationship
So
with
you
self. Where they
gotta have your
value.
core values. Your core values determine how you show up. And it's the how I explain core values. If your brand, which is the image that comes to a person's mind and the emotional attachment that they have to that image, if you want to begin to craft that brand and control people's image of you, then if that is a machine that works behind the scene 24 hours a day, then the oil that keeps that machine going is your core values.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, okay, what do I really value? Do I value respect? Do I value love? Do I value honesty and transparency? Are those the intangible things that I value?
Yeah.
Because that will influence not only how you show up,
Yep.
but how you respond to people's approach
Yeah.
or people's ask from you. And if that acts is sexually, your core values that you set a standard for
Will
will
step
drive
in.
your response.
Yeah, decision making.
So freedom, sexual freedom, and I use that word freedom, right? Sexual freedom is not your ability to say yes to all advancement. It's your ability to say no.
Oh my
And that is true freedom.